Weekly update for Friday, January 19th, and continuing with our series of hopefully all in one take weekly updates. First of all, because I'm not able to move around very easily, and I want to get as many weekly updates in the can as I can through until the end of January. Both to give my ribs a rest and also to help out Dave Fisher, who is on a family emergency in New Zealand. And as you're watching this, David is all the way down under, as far as we know, in New Zealand. So if you're finding out about his trip down there late, and you want to make a pitch for, hey, why don't you come over to my place and whatever, or why don't we go to wherever it is that's a really cool place in New Zealand, and what part of New Zealand are you in? I don't even know the answer to that question, but it's not that big a place. Presumably almost everywhere in New Zealand is pretty close to everywhere else in New Zealand. So take a shot and say, hey, you want to go and check this out at such and such a place on such and such a date, if you're still down here. That having been said, I also want to get into the habit of promoting our latest Cerebus in Hell one-shot, which came out January 3rd, supposed to be coming out January 31st, but came out January 3rd. And to point out, every issue of the Cerebus in Hell one-shots becomes the new rarest Cerebus #1 after Cerebus #1 itself. We don't know if we can actually get below the 2,000 copy circulation on Cerebus #1, but we're at least pointed in that direction. So you want a rare comic book, just keep buying the Cerebus in Hell #1s. Check the back cover. There's the February issue, a parody of the Amazing Spider-Man 300, Sandeep Atwell's really funny cover that actually got most of this started as, hey, why can't we do a monthly comic book? So definitely rare comic book. No idea how rare these #1s are going to get, but we're definitely down around the 3,000 copy mark, which we haven't seen until since issue 10, 11, 12, around there of Cerebus. And I also wanted to say thank you to Oliver Simonson, who sent along a hand-drawn Cerebus Christmas card. Before he was mean and cynical, Cerebus the happy-go-lucky aardvark. I don't think that's true, but happy holidays and happy 40th anniversary from Oliver and Karma, and very much appreciated. Hi Dave, happy anniversary! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. The big 4-0, no less. And Merry Christmas, of course. And Happy Hanukkah. My dad is Jewish, so if you don't get too orthodox about it, I'm kind of half, he says and puts in a smiley face. Which reminds me of the Groucho Marx story, when there was a country club that didn't admit Jews, and he said, my kid is only half Jewish. Can she just go in up to her knees? Which I would leave it to Groucho to be able to nail that one. And a huge congrats on another successful Kickstarter. Great to see as we're getting to the later issues, well past the halfway mark. issue-wise, not quite phone book-wise. No, this is true. And I did want to point out, we've got all the figures in on the Kickstarter, and it ended up being roughly $6,700 worth of shipping and $7,000 worth of printing. So we're trying to figure out exactly how viable this is. One of the things that you have to keep doing in the 21st century is revisiting your whole concept, because it can be, it does become less viable as it goes along. That was $25,000 pledged, $6,000 for shipping, $7,000 for printing, adds up to 13,000, actually closer to 14,000. Then there was the $2,500 donation to charity, which I always do 10% of all revenues that come into Aardvark Vanaheim. $1,000 for me and $1,000 for Gerhardt, because it was our work that you're buying. And already right there we are up to pretty close to 17,000, 18,000 of the 22,000 that came in. $25,000 pledged, but only $22,000 once Amazon and Kickstarter got their share. So I'm thinking that the situation is we are probably going to have to downscale the packages in some way. I don't know how much we have to downscale them by, but to whatever extent 10 plates made sense 5 years ago, the cost of paper has just absolutely eaten up any possibility of that working. So we're probably looking at having to do 5 plates instead of 10 plates, but keep charging the same price. Or do the 10 plates and put the price up on the Kickstarters, on the Cerebus archive portfolios. I don't think we can cut back on the notes. I'm not sure about that, because I think that's what people are buying, is what I've got to say about the pages that they're looking at. So just a warning up ahead that this is just when you're talking about a small scale operation where you've got 180 or so pledge partners, and when you've got a couple of thousand fans who are all trying to help, and it's just costing more and more all the time to do the same thing that you were doing last year. You all know how that goes. If you're still getting paid the same amount of money you were last year, you're probably noticing that that money doesn't go nearly as far as it used to. No, you're not to blame. It's the inflation that is now baked in to all the G7 countries. That they're a little disappointed that it's only 2% per year, but that's 2% compounded yearly. So year after year, it just means the buying power of a Canadian dollar or a US dollar just isn't doing what it used to. But speaking of real problems, back to Oliver's letter. The last 2 months have been very chaotic and the least productive in the Cerebus film's long history. But by some miracle, the film survived. The Northern California fires burnt down our neighbors to the ground. Ours got partially damaged. So uncanny, any closer and the hard drives would have been gone, and I don't think the film could have survived that. Notwithstanding, he adds parenthetically, some files on George Gatz's cloud. And thank you, George, from all of us. Hey, you get onto George's cloud. So Oliver writes, we've been hotel hopping and are beginning to catch our bearings as we are moving into our new place as we speak. We'll soon be back in a routine, picking up where we left off with the Cerebus film. Oliver and Karma, who is actually in Utah at the moment due to a family emergency. We got to stop these family emergencies. Look, this is getting old in a hurry. Let's hope we got all of those out of the way in 2017, and it'll be clear sailing for everybody here in 2018. And that'll do it for weekly update for January 19th, and hope to see a bunch of you back for our weekly update for January 26th.